Welcome to Taekook Whispers. Last night's live stream was not about tears. It was not about weakness. He was calm. He smiled. He joked. And yet, beneath that calm surface, something felt different. It was almost dawn, that quiet hour when the world falls silent. And in that silence, Jeon Jungkook chose to show up. No script. No polished lines. No carefully constructed idol mask. Just himself. There was a sentence that almost slipped out. A truth that hovered in the air, then stopped. And when the video later disappeared, the question was no longer, what happened? It became, what was he trying to say? Today, we are not here to discuss rumors. We are here to read the meaning behind the pauses. And maybe, to understand something we have been missing all along. Yesterday's live genuinely left thousands of questions spinning in our heads. Not because he looked fragile. Not because he cried. Let's make that clear. No, he was not depressed, not broken, not collapsing under pressure. He was steady. He smiled. He even laughed the way he always does. That is precisely why it felt so deep. It had been a long time since we saw him like that. Since we heard his breath between laughter. Since we felt his presence, even if only through a screen. When he finally appeared, there was overwhelming joy, and at the same time an ache. As if we suddenly realized how much we had missed him. It was nearly dawn. The world was asleep. Many people had already drifted into dreams. But he was there. After a long day. After exhausting schedules. He still chose to come online. His face may have looked slightly tired, but his aura never dimmed. He remained warm. He still shone in a way that felt effortless and real. We still remember how Kim Taehyung once described Jungkook as someone special. That night, the word special felt tangible. Not because of visuals. Not because of global superstar status. But because of the courage to simply be himself. The broadcast felt different. There was no rigid script. No perfectly arranged, flawless idol persona. He spoke like a young man who was tired of filtering every sentence. He was honest. He admitted there were many things he wanted to say, many stories he wished to share, but work boundaries and professional restrictions held him back. And you could feel it. There was weight behind every pause. Words that stopped in his throat. Sentences that almost escaped, then were gently pulled back. Throughout the live he smiled. But that smile was not just entertainment. It was effort. An effort to reassure. An effort not to worry anyone. An effort to stay strong under millions of eyes watching him. That day had been demanding. Tight schedules. Endless expectations. Pressure that never truly fades. And still he made time. Not out of obligation, but out of desire. Because he cares. Because to him, fans are not statistics. They are a reason. And that is where the beauty lies. How extraordinary it is for someone under immense pressure to still choose to give warmth to others. How strong someone must be to perhaps want to complain, but instead smile so others do not feel burdened. That night, Jungkook reminded us that his charm is not limited to golden vocals or precise stage movements. His real power lies in sincerity. In the softness of his voice. In the way he reads comments patiently. In the way he openly admits he is human. Then the live ended. And something disappointing happened. The video disappeared. As if that moment never existed. As if that honesty was too bold to remain. Many felt frustrated. Because if you watched with an open heart, there was nothing wrong. No insults. No rebellion. He was simply honest. But in this world, honesty can be more unsettling than mistakes. Some chose to twist his words. Others focused on trivial details. Necklaces, profile pictures, insignificant fragments, building baseless theories from them. As if searching for cracks to justify preconceived narratives. As if forgetting that behind that screen is a person who reads comments, who feels, who can be hurt. The most painful part was not the criticism itself. It was the reality that despite all the love he gives, some still choose to see only negativity. He spoke briefly about the company. And again his words were misinterpreted. He was not blindly praising a system. He was talking about the people within it, individuals who care for him, who protect him. That is different. Very different. But nuance is often ignored. That live was not empty entertainment. It was not gossip material. It was a small window into his real thoughts. The way he lowered his head before answering. The quiet laugh when a topic became sensitive. The seriousness in his eyes when heavier subjects emerged. Those details spoke louder than any sentence. Being a fan is not just about admiration. It is about respect. When someone opens themselves up, they do not need speculation. They need empathy. And in the midst of all this, Taehyung's name lingers like a calm shadow. Not because of drama. Not because of sensation. But because of consistency. Their closeness has never felt forced. It exists in small gestures, in glances filled with understanding, in smiles that need no explanation. Connections like that are not built overnight. They grow through years of training, through grand stages, through heavy responsibilities, through silence only they understand. Over time, that bond matures. It becomes quieter, deeper, not loud with dramatic proof, but solid in stillness. Jungkook has never been someone who expresses everything through grand declarations. He shows it through actions, through presence, through the way he stands firm when storms arrive. His emotional language lives in the details, and only those who truly pay attention can recognize it. That night, he did more than go live. He showed vulnerability, and vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is the purest form of courage. The courage to admit there are things he wants to say but cannot. The courage to acknowledge pressure is real. The courage to keep smiling beneath relentless scrutiny. He deserves respect, not judgment. He deserves understanding, not distortion. He deserves to be heard, not attacked. Because before becoming a global icon, before becoming part of the phenomenon known as BTS, he is Jeon Jungkook. A young man who grew up before the eyes of the world. Who learned from mistakes. Who tries to become better. Who sometimes feels tired, but still chooses to endure. Behind stage lights and industry glamour, he remains human. With a large heart. With fears he may never voice. With a simple hope, to live honestly and peacefully. And perhaps that is the heart of it all. That night was not about controversy. Not about speculation. Not about wild theories. It was about a human being choosing to show up. About the bravery to remain open, even knowing words might be twisted. About sincerity that cannot be fabricated. If we truly care, our role is simple. Listen with our hearts. Protect with empathy. Love without conditions. Because in a world that judges too quickly, honesty like that is rare. And Jungkook, with all his strength and all his flaws, gave it to us. That night was not about controversy. It was about the courage of a man named Jeon Jungkook, before the titles, before the spotlight. Honesty may be quiet, but its impact is loud. If you truly care, listen with your heart. Not to find flaws, but to understand. Because in a world too eager to judge, empathy is the most mature form of love. See you at Taekook Whispers, where what remains unspoken often speaks the loudest.